Okay, guys. So we're gonna very briefly introduce you to Hamlet. It's a Shakespearean text, obviously, and it's without a doubt one of his most famous plays. If you've ever heard of Shakespeare, you've heard of Hamlet, and you've probably heard of Macbeth and Romeo and Juliet. Um, your book chose to put some really good dramas in here. I chose Hamlet because I feel like if you've never studied Shakespeare, this is the one you have to read, and I feel like if you have studied Shakespeare, rereading a text, especially a Shakespearean text, constantly brings out new things that you never saw before. You can read Shakespeare 40 times and never read the same play twice. And that is, to me, one of the coolest things about Shakespeare. So I've given you a brief introduction here. You'll see in the next video I discussed the fact that I'm giving you guys a movie version as well, with David Tennant and Sir Patrick Stewart. It's excellent. I'm including it as an extra resource, so it's not something that you have to watch. But if you have the time, it's a really well done movie. It's very recent, and it's there to kind of just help you get a visualization of what's on the page, because I think it's really helpful, considering that a play is designed to be on the stage. If you can see it, if you could see with these lines coming out, certain actors saying certain lines and the interactions that they have, it kind of helps bring, like I say, a whole new level of meaning to the play. So, to give you a very brief overview without spoiling anything, what we have here is a discussion of Denmark. We have the Danish court, so we are with the upper echelon, we're with the royalty, the people with power and money and sort of privilege in life, and we have not too many characters, which is pretty good for a Shakespeare play. We have Hamlet, of course, and he's the Prince of Denmark. His father is also named Hamlet, and we come to find out that his father, in the first scene, we find out that his father has been killed in battle. So Hamlet's, I've given you a little guide here, a little relationship guide between the characters to kind of help map it all out, because I think it's really helpful to see who's related to who and in what way. So please look at that, or you can look at the front of your textbook here. This way. You can look at the front of your textbook, and you'll see that there are a whole list of all the characters that are in here. This little chart gives you kind of the main ones, and then really, the side characters are just kind of there to help move things along. So, Hamlet's mother is named Gertrude, and she has married his uncle, so his father's brother. And Hamlet has a problem with this, because he says that man is basically, internally, he's saying, that man is your brother-in-law, that's gross, can't believe you did that to dad. That's basically what he's saying. So he doesn't like his mother, he doesn't like his uncle. His mother is not a saint by any means. And his uncle, as we come to find out, is really kind of an antagonist character. He's guided, in a sense, by the ghost of his father. So you're going to see the ghost kind of show up every once in a while. And then Hamlet's love, or former love, is Ophelia. So, look down at your chart. Ophelia and Laertes, their brother and sister, and their father is Polonius. And Polonius is the aide to the king, the uncle. So Polonius is kind of this weasel little character that you're not supposed to like. Ophelia is the tragic heroine, and Laertes kind of is the voice of reason. He's trying to warn her against being with Hamlet, because Hamlet has undergone this big old change after his dad died, where he's just not quite right anymore. And then we have a servant of Polonius. So if we're looking at ranking in order here, we have King and Queen, Hamlet, and then Ophelia and Polonius is a servant, and then Ophelia and Laertes. And then we have his servant, Rinaldo. And Rinaldo basically is like this little spy who spies on everybody. And then on the side, we have, look at the right side, we have 3 little sort of equal officers, for Francisco, Bernardo, and Marcellus. You'll see them briefly. And then their captain, their person in charge, is Horatio, who happens to be Hamlet's friend, and he's also at university with him, so he's a scholar. Then you'll see if you go to the left, you'll see basically the bad guys. The Norwegians. So we've got Denmark versus Norway. Fortinbras. This is young Fortinbras. Old Fortinbras was the king of Norway. I mean, the king of, Norway, forgive me. And he was killed by old Hamlet, so the other king who died. So both kings are dead, both sons are alive. That's basically that. Fortinbras, he's out to take revenge for his father and get basically his lands and money back. So he's the bad guy. And then we have some side characters, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. There's a very famous movie called Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, which is actually very funny. It basically takes part of this plot and flips it as a parody, and basically shows the fact that these characters disappear about halfway through, and then we don't ever hear from them again. So it shows what happens to them. So if you're bored, go check that out. But Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are Hamlet's sort of semi-friends, acquaintances, and they kind of serve a couple different purposes in the text. They're not really good, they're not really bad, they're kind of in between, they're kind of enterprising. And then we have the ambassador, who is just a side character, and then other sort of side characters here are Osric, Cornelius, and Voltimand. So hopefully that's the main characters. There's of course there's messengers and sailors and all these different people, but you can kind of figure those out for yourself. And as we dive into Act 1, Scene 1, if you get lost, if you get confused about who a character is, make sure you take just a couple seconds to come back here or come back to the beginning of your book and remember who that character is. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to have you guys start on Act 1, Scene 1 now. And if you have questions, let me know.